Good morning. You're muted. Good
Good morning. There we go. I'm
morning.
unmuted now. How are you? How was your weekend?
I'm okay. It was hot. How was your
I
weekend?
know, right? Hot. We did some pool days over here. Like stay cool. Like, all bets off. Yeah, it's in fact it's a warm one again already this morning. I feel bad. Just a couple weeks ago, last week I was saying, I don't know, we're gonna get summer, and then full force, it's August. Just like,
Yeah, right? I know. It did not ease in at all. It's just like, we're here.
no. That's right. That's right. That's right. Bull in the china shop. That's all right though. I was quite concerned that we weren't going to get a summer, so I am not complaining about the heat as long as I have water to stay cool. I'll be all right. So I love it. Is it hot everywhere? My husband is up in Oklahoma, somewhere out that way, and he said it was very hot there as well. So I don't know if it's hot across the country. Drop
I
it in the
think
chat.
it
Let us know.
is from I don't know, the
Are you
whole
sure?
upper right chunk of the US is in a heat wave right now, and the South I feel like is just always hot anyway. So I don't know. Maybe Washington's
Right.
okay. I don't
No, I
know.
don't know if you're out in Seattle, although that's West Coast,
You're
so I don't
probably in
even
bed.
know. Cheryl's here, so I don't know. Maybe she knows. Ooh, she said it snowed and stormed in Tahoe, so it's not summer everywhere. I love that. I love it. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Mindset Monday, where we kickstart our week with positivity and inspiration. My name is Nicole Broadhurst, and I'm here with my co host, Kayla Thompson Riviere. And we have a really good quote. We were actually looking forward to this one. So, Kayla, kick us off.
Yes, today's quote is honestly one of my all-time favorites. Comes to us from Confucius, and it does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop.
Yes, I love this. I love this. I love this. So, what makes it your favorite, Kayla? Or one
Um,
of your favorites? Let's
well,
start there.
it's one that it helps me a lot with some of my particular struggles. I am a
Mm.
person where this is a chronic personality flaw of mine. Nothing gets done as quickly as I want it to be. And
I
so
know that.
I can get frustrated by that very easily. And then I can, kind of have a natural tendency to want to make that mean something about me or what I'm doing or the people around me who are supposed to be helping. And anyways, it can just be a whole negative spiral when the reality is, if something goes the way you planned it to, that's outside the norm. Celebrate that.
That's right. Exactly.
Is
Exactly.
kind of for me, these things are kind of hand in hand, but I've learned to expect the road bumps and the slowdowns and the unforeseen challenges. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things that maybe doesn't always get talked about in entrepreneurship as much as it should, which is exactly why we're here. But
Yeah.
that's what most people experience. And unfortunately, a lot of small business owners do take those roadblocks, challenges, and slowdowns to mean something about them or their capacity to build business, or
Right.
fill in the negative assumption. And it couldn't be further from the truth.
Right. I love that. Kayla, we were talking, we just finished the Q2 cohort in the planning workshop. And we just started the Q3. But what I was going to say was we found this so true. And we had lots of conversations around this inside the Q2 cohort where there's nothing wrong with you. This is a process, a system, right? These are issues that, when things go slow, I love what you said. When things go slow or not as expected, it's not a reflection of me or us or as people, what we're doing. It's a reflection of the process or the system that we're using. Or, we just need to relook and review and tweak that process. That is hard to remember sometimes because,
Yeah.
in my mind, everything is very linear.
Right?
I know, right? I love that made you laugh, right? Because that is so not life, right?
Yeah.
That's just not the reality.
Although I want to throw in that's human beings in general. Like we're wired to be very linear thinking. So that's not you. You're normal.
Again, not a reflection of me, but of humanity, right? And so I think this is really important to remember, to stay focused on, recentered on our why and what that means and what that looks like. And my biggest takeaway on this quote, I think, is to remember, and I say this to myself all the time: progress, not perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that just kind of reiterates that just keep moving forward. Every little tiny step is a step closer to where I want to go. And life's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. And I just want to, like, if you're somebody who you kind of identify with that concept of, like, taking the slowdowns, challenges, roadblocks, and making it mean something about yourself, maybe it does mean something about yourself, but not in the way you're thinking. I would say the only thing that it means about you is maybe you just need to adjust your expectations.
Woo! I love that she said just adjust your expectations. Like, that's something that's so easy to do. I just want to call that out, right? That is why we're here.
Yeah.
Like, adjusting our expectations. Man, I just got like stressed out thinking about it, because like every day I feel like that's where I'm at. So it is the end of June. And if you're like Kayla and I, we're in kind of planning mode for the next quarter, right? Pulling everything together and just getting the activities pulled together. And man, I will tell you, like, I have to be really nice about the 3,500 things that I want to get done in the next 12 weeks. And really, pare it way down to maybe 2 things that I can realistically get done in the next 12 weeks. There was a really great feedback from one of our attendees to the Q3 event on Friday, where she said that when she went through the process of breaking down all of the things that need to happen in order to achieve the 3 goals that she had put on her sheet, she was like, there's a lot. Like, there's more than I thought. There's more that I need to do. And I'm like, yes, and maybe we just need to focus on 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah.
Because everything goes slower than we think it's going to go.
Yep.
I
especially with running your own business, like that was a curve and an additional thing that I had to learn just painfully, because in your own life, or even coordinating things through friends and family, or making an event for them or something, you try to initiate something and you're waiting for a response, but that delay time isn't as evolved as it is when you start talking about business to business, and everybody, like, with their crazy work schedules. And like, I'll share very transparently, there's a lady in the community here who believes very much in what I'm doing. And she actually reached out to me to discuss the possibility of investing in my business to help things grow. We started these conversations in March.
Yes.
Believe me,
Yes.
I want the money.
Right? Right. I know, right? And here we
But
are.
like, it
Middle of
sounds so
June. Yeah.
simple, but like to,
Yeah.
something like that, to make sure that you're taking all the appropriate steps, and we've got the financial advisors involved and a lawyer involved, and it takes longer than you would
It's
think.
a thing.
You wish you could just like sit down, everybody, and let's just figure this out. But it's got to fall in other people's priorities, and yeah.
It's a crazy thing. I mean, it's interesting because I've often, so when I found my home, which, oh no, here comes
Here come the mowers.
can you hear it? I am so disappointed in my lawn care. Anyway, can you hear it? Oh, you got to be able to hear that.
A little bit, but your noise canceling
Not
is
too
doing
bad.
pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Okay, cool. Where was I? I don't even know where and it totally distracted me from what I was going to say. So let's just check our notes and see what else we can talk about. Right? Sounds good. Everything takes longer, and yeah, I don't know. Anyway, all right. So what about resilience means not giving up, even when it's hard? Because I think that, it gets very discouraging when things, I don't know what I was going to say now, of course. So when I first started my business, when I found my home in the startup world. Okay. That's what I was going to share. Was I worked in healthcare for a long time, and then I started working for some healthcare startup companies that were really doing some amazing work. And so I transitioned away from big health systems into more startup. And I was amazed.
I knew that about you.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, it was. And I actually fell in love with it. I wish I had found it earlier in my career. However, I didn't. What I loved about it was the flexibility and the agility of these startup companies to pivot and make decisions. And, like CEOs, CFOs, like the C-suite was meeting weekly. And if we needed to, make a change, they were right on it, and we could do that. Whereas in big health systems, oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Right, exactly. I need to order this kind of pen instead of that kind of pen. Okay, well, let's see if we can get approval and if it's in the budget, and like all of these things, right? And weeks later. So that was one of the things that I adored about moving into a startup space. And then, of course, when I started my own business, it got even better, right? Because I'm the decision maker, which is fantastic. I say that with full transparency. My choices and my decisions are not always amazing decisions. I just want to say that. They're just, I get to make them, right? When it comes right down to it, I get to be the one that makes that choice and that decision. And that is an amazing thing. Because if I want to change, I can change. Anyway, that was what I was going to say about the agility and ability to move a little bit quicker than corporate world, right? Because corporate world is really slow. And sometimes my business feels like it has a corporate mentality. Because it feels like it's moving really slow. Even though I'm doing things.
I want to highlight a couple of the things you said just now, because you were talking about how somebody in the planning session had 3 goals, and then once she broke them down, she saw how much it was really going to be and started talking about maybe there should be 1 goal. So the topic today, it doesn't matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. I think like you have to have an absolute commitment to that philosophy of I will be successful. It's just a matter of when. And at the same time, you have to be able to have the self-awareness and honestly, probably the outside support, like in programs like Nicole's, to help you figure out, okay, like, am I actually spinning my wheels here? Or am I too scattered? Or am I heading in the right direction and it's just moving slower than I want to? So I do want to retract my previous statement of maybe you just need to adjust expectations. I would say that's still probably primary number 1, but then some outside guidance to talk it through of,
Yeah.
am I really not on the right track, or am I too scattered versus that sweet spot in the middle? And that is so hard in
yes.
the, especially in the beginning. Like I can confidently say now I have finally moved from a place where for the longest time, and hopefully some of you can relate to this, but for the longest time, I felt like I was trying to figure out what I was doing with my business. And it's finally literally just in Q2 here where I'm like, okay, now I can confidently say I know what I'm doing with my business, and now I'm just trying to get it to work a little bit more. But that shift, it took a long time, and it took a lot of trying out. And there's a lot of things that work that I heard worked for other advocates that simply have not worked for me. I've had to get very creative with the way I run my business. And it was challenging, but I'm happy about it because now I do things way differently than the norm. But anyways, this is not a story about me, but just to normalize at the beginning. And I think that's probably true across all industries. Like you're creating your own business, and you can have a vision of what you think that's going to look like. But number one, don't hold too rigid to that, because just because you think something is great doesn't mean that the people you're actually trying to serve, that's exactly what they need. And it's probably not right out the gate.
Right. And I think, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. So I think, I was going to share transparently an experience that I have in regards to, it doesn't matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. And it really does boil down to this. The example I want to share is this quarterly strategic planning thing that I've been doing several quarters now. We've got probably 20 to 30 alum now that have been through and seeing big changes in their business and making big strides. However, and I absolutely knew when I launched this workshop, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that there were advocates out there that would get amazing, crazy value from it. And my personal mission is to help as many independent advocates build profitable and sustainable practices as possible. I haven't put a number on it. I probably should do that. Like I want at least, whatever. I'll work on that. But right now, that's my driving force. So I launched this because I have this planning process that has been working, and I wanted to share that because I know it will be helpful. And I'm not kidding you. I cannot tell you how many quarters. It was probably 4 or 5 quarters that I literally had crickets. Nobody wanted to join me in this endeavor. Not one. And quarter after quarter, I left this on my plan, and I kept saying, okay, that didn't work. What do I do different this quarter? Okay, that didn't work. What do I do different this quarter? And I think it was quarter 5 where finally we had the workshop. Like we had attendees that bought in. We had, like, we were rolling. And since then, it has only been growing every quarter over quarter, right? And so I share this because in those quarters where no one was joining me and no one was buying these seats in this workshop, there was a little part of my brain that was saying, maybe nobody needs this. Maybe nobody wants this. Maybe you shouldn't be doing this. But my why was so big that I just kept saying, that's not true. I know it's not true. I know that there are advocates out there that need this, that want this, that will pay for it. I just have to figure out what I need to tweak to get that rolling. And so I share that because I know, and I hear this from advocates all the time. Well, how long do I wait before I just give it up? And the answer is, are you still moving towards it? Because if you are, don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. So I love this. Don't stop.
Don't stop. And also, like, again, guys, you probably don't know, but I've worked a lot with Nicole, and it's been absolutely instrumental in getting my business from crickets to, I got something that's working now, even if it's not like, we're not all the way yet. I don't have a consistent like lead
We're
flow.
never all the way.
Well, there's also that, but
Yeah. We're never all the way.
and having that support and the perspective of somebody who has gone through it and can look from the outside, because also like that, it's so easy to get caught up in, frankly, get caught up in all your own shit that you can't even see the forest through the trees, and it's really hard to, when you're doing something you've never done before, you don't have really anything to judge off of. If you're putting all of your resources, time, energy, money, etc., in the right places. Or can we bring up Cheryl's comment? Can you do that, Nicole? Because I loved this.
Sure. There we go.
Cheryl mentioned, and it was a few minutes ago, so I'm not sure exactly which piece of the conversation it was in reply to, but that's okay. She said, there's many things in the fire because money is needed. Seeds are being planted on a daily basis. I wonder if my garden is going to sprout overnight and all hell will break loose. LOL. Well, first of all, I don't know about you, but that's the dream for me. I'm like, that is a challenge I am ready to take on. I will pick up the phone and start bringing people in. And the truth is that it probably isn't going to happen overnight for any of us, because this isn't, a viral product. This is a trust-based business that we're selling. Yeah. And because it is a trust-based service, it takes a lot more time for people to feel comfortable, even though we see the need and the value so clearly. People on the outside don't, especially if they don't know who you are.
Right.
But I love this concept of the garden because it's one that I used a lot when I was trying to describe things to my husband. He was like, you're spending so much time doing all this stuff and like the revenue's not coming in. And I'm like, yeah, but I said, I feel like a farmer. Like I'm out planting my seeds and watering them. I don't know what seeds I planted. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to grow. But I know if I stop watering them or I dig them up to check on them, nothing's going to work. But the other side of that is I would be remiss if I just got a whole pack of seeds and threw them in the ground and started pouring water on them and had no idea how to garden and didn't ask anybody who did. You can stand there and keep hosing them all day long and, keep going and never stop. But that is also not necessarily equitable with results. So having that guidance and perspective of somebody who has been there to say, you know what, maybe you actually, you only planted 2 seeds. You're watering the hell out of them. But maybe we need a few more seeds, or you planted these seeds in this soil and really they can't flourish here. They need this kind of soil. Right. Or maybe it's, you planted this pack of seeds all over this entire field and there's no way you're going to be able to water that many. Like that kind of perspective is invaluable and is required, I believe, to making sure that sticking to this concept of it doesn't matter how slow you go as long as you do not stop, as long as you also have somebody who can guide you and saying, yes, you're doing the right things, you're on the right path, and it just does take time.
Yes, I love that. It's about perseverance, she says, and I couldn't agree more with that. It's that moment of, you guys know the cartoon where the little miner is like chunking away in the mine underground, and you can see just on the other side that there's like gold or coal or whatever that is, and there's just this little bit of dirt between his pick and the thing, and it says, don't give up before the miracle. I don't know. Don't give up before the win. I don't know, whatever. But the point is, I love what you just said, Kayla. Yes, there are certain things that when you've dialed it in and you just know that these are the right things, and there will be a sprout and it will happen, especially early on. I think that we tend to abandon our garden maybe, or, not give it enough time. Again, because we think we have this crazy perception that, oh, it's going to happen so fast, and it's not. And that's a hard reality sometimes, you know? So, yeah. So thanks, Cheryl. I think that definitely is a good analogy and way to think of it for sure. Perseverance is really important. Resilience is really important, and then adaptability too, right? Like you said,
that is key.
yeah, it's really the ability to look at it and say, okay, so which pieces of this worked, which pieces didn't, what do I try differently, what do I keep, what do I like? These are all of the questions that we ask regularly inside of the program, right? It's so that we're keeping the things that work, and then we're improving and making those changes that will hopefully move us towards.
Yeah, and that the adaptability and resilience works together with the perseverance. I guess that's what I was trying to get at. Is like, yes, perseverance, but not perseverance on its own. I mean, going back to the discussion about digging for gold, you could easily look at that as, well, if you keep digging, you will strike gold. Well, not if you're digging in the wrong freaking place. Like, some places just simply don't have gold.
Exactly.
Or if you don't have the right tool, you can keep chipping all day, but you might never get through that rock.
That's right. That's right.
So being able to like take a step back and analyze what is going on, get the feedback for, oh, you know what, this is actually, I got this piece of feedback and I didn't know that. Like, for instance, the way that I work with clients is kind of, if you boiled it down, is mostly like a coaching program, and they execute their health stuff largely on their own, because that was the feedback that I got in my environment.
Oh my gosh.
People kept saying, like, I literally over and over heard, I just want somebody to tell me what to do. Like, I'll take my mom to the appointments. I don't have the resources or the desire to have somebody do that for me. I just don't know what to do for her. So I pivoted, and now that's my practice is aimed mostly at that kind of DIY client. But that wasn't my intention when I set out, but I committed to, this is going to work. I'm going to figure out how, and taking the feedback to adapt. And when something didn't work and I got knocked down, just bounce right back up and try another angle.
Yes.
Change out the pickaxe to find the one that's actually making progress. Go look around outside and make sure we're on the map where the gold's supposed to be.
Right? I love this so much, Kayla. I love this so much, because this is verbalizing so much of the work that we do early on in our practice, that there is no rubber stamp plan for how to do it. It is listen, talk, get the information, and develop and design your services to help the people that are coming into your world and need help. Right? Like, literally figuring out what that looks like for them and creating that. And there is no, like, I don't know how to accelerate that except talk to more people.
And you can't tie a rigid time frame to that.
Right.
I mean, if you're stepping in and going, well, I have 6 months to replace my full-time income, that's probably an unrealistic expectation.
Right. Right. I would definitely say so. Unless you don't have any income currently. Or I mean, I'm just saying, we keep it real around here, y'all. We just keep it really real. That's all. Yeah, because I remember, like, when I started my business, we're running out of time. So let's kind of, we could talk about this for a long, long time.
Right? This is a good one.
Right? This is a good one. So we want to make sure that this week is all about not stopping, right? We're headed into a new quarter. We are in this place where we are looking at and hopefully doing some review of last quarter, thinking about the things that we're going to carry forward into our next quarter. What are the things that we're just going to drop off? Like, that was not worth it. It didn't do anything. Let that go. And then move forward, even if it's really slow. Right? Even when it's really slow, because it is. That's just real. All right. So I put together a little thing. What's one thing that you are going to keep going with, even though it's hard and slow this next quarter? I want to hear about what that is right now. What is that one thing that you are just committed to? What is it that, maybe it was, like I said, for me, it was that workshop that I launched, and we're literally headed into the fourth quarter. It's going to be a year. Holy smokes. Again, very slow. But what is your one thing that you are so committed to that you're going to keep moving forward with it no matter how slow it gets? I want to know what those things are. Kayla, what about you?
And for me, what keeps me going, that resilience for me is fueled by my overarching why. So I want to know, what is your personal big why for getting out of bed every day and doing this business? And do you have it actually on paper where you can see it every day? And if you don't, then that's my secondary challenge. Get that done.
I love it. Okay, this is a hot Monday. It was hot temperature-wise. It's hot topic-wise. This is a great week. Go make it yours. Keep moving no matter how slowly. We'll be back here next Monday. What are we talking about next Monday? Self-care and boundaries. That's what we're going to talk about. So have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.